Gary, we're so happy to have you here. Yes. So for those of you who don't know Gary Lynn Floyd, he's one of the most well-respected New Thought artists that we have, and he's been doing amazing music by himself with Karen Drucker, new music with Karen Drucker, fabulous music with Jamie Lula. If you don't know who those people are, go look them up. Go look up Gary Lynn Floyd and his music. It's some of the most beautiful spiritual New Thought music that there is, and we're so happy you're here.
I love you. And it all started right here. I remember we would do the music, we'd go have coffee and bagels, and then we'd come back, and then I met Danny, and he was like, you know, you really should stay for a talk every once in a while, just kind of see what this is all about. So thank you, Danny. Thank you, Reverend Petra, Matt. All right, so here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. I invite you to sing this one with me, too. It's pretty easy. It's called Instrument of Peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Sing that much with me. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Let's do that one more time. Make me an instrument. Lift it up. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. One more of that one. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Yeah. Where there is hatred, I will love. Where there is sadness, I will bring joy. And where there is darkness, I will shine. I am an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument of peace. All right, let's go back to the top. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Where there is hatred, where there is hatred, I will love. Where there's sadness, where there is sadness, I will bring joy. Where there's darkness, where there is darkness, I will shine. I am an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument. Make me an instrument of peace.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I love that, and I love learning new songs, and I love hearing your new songs, and it's fabulous, fabulous. We could just do that a few more times, right, and have church, right? That'd be it, right? sometimes I wonder why I even get up here after like that fabulous kind of like soul bath, you know? Your like whole being is like, yes, that. Go, just go be that, okay? Done now, bye. No. But unfortunately, I have a talk prepared, so y'all have to listen. All right, so we're going to start out with this lovely video of our annual theme. I love this. I'm so happy about this. Yeah. So we might ask ourselves, you know, where are we in the process of emerging? On the one hand, spiritually in our whole life, and on the other hand, of course, in any one particular area, aspect, or part of our life that we are actually seeking to grow consciousness, grow experience. You know, the science of mind and new thought focuses on healing, number one. 2, manifestation. But number 3, most importantly, is a happy, fulfilling, satisfied life that provides us avenues for contribution and to make a difference in the world and for humanity. And so we spend a lot of time, as you know, focusing on the healing and the manifestation part. This entire year, we're focusing on the emerging of an awakened consciousness, the emerging of our lives, so that we're building lives that are sustainable, that are grounded in spiritual principles, and that are actually making a difference. As we talked last week, this is based on what we believe is actually going on and how all of this works. So, I think I've calmed my throat down after all that singing, Gary. Thank you very much. So, last week we talked about the thing itself. We are walking through the basic principles, basically kind of loosely attached to the first 4 chapters in the Science of Mind, the introduction. And so today I want to talk about in what do we trust. Last week we did an exploration of the thing itself, the one infinite reality. And so today we're going to focus on in what do we trust? Because in our spirituality, right, and in all spiritualities, there is this common language, this common idea of faith. We have to have faith in things. We have to have faith in something. And what is that we have faith in as we are building lives that actually work, that are in service to a world that works for everyone? So I want to start out with a passage from the Tao Te Ching. This is verse 42, for those of you who want to know, from the Tao Te Ching. Tao gives birth to the one. One gives birth to two. The two gives birth to three. The three gives birth to all universal things. All universal things shoulder the yin and embrace the yang. The yin and yang mingle and mix with each other to beget harmony. This is the original origins, as we talked about last week, the creation story from the Tao Te Ching. How does everything get to be here? How does all of this work? And like so many spiritual traditions, you'll notice that there is a trinity here. The one begets the two, which begets the three, which begets the universal things. In other translations, it's the many thousand things. So, as in so many spiritual traditions, we too have to take that one infinite reality that we talked about last week, and we actually have to find ways to talk about its various aspects. the ways in which this one infinite reality operates, the ways in which it is impelled to be what it is, and what it's doing. And so this is a lovely correlation with the science of mind. The Tao gives birth to the One, that one infinite reality that we talked about last week. We call it God, we call it many, many, many different names. The universe, consciousness, infinite intelligence, divine presence, so many different names. The One infinite reality, which is a wholeness and encompasses everything. Everything tangible and intangible, everything absolute and relative, everything seen and unseen, everything physical and spiritual. The entire thing, one infinite reality. The two gives birth to one infinite reality, and the one gives birth to two. In the science of mind, we understand this two to be love and law. These are the twin pillars of the science of mind, love and law. For those of you who are part of the science of mind class this morning, you know that in the science of mind it is called a dual unity. Just go meditate on that for a month. A dual unity. Oh, my brain hurts, right? Because we want it to be either dual or a unity. Could we just? No, it's a dual unity. That's what wholeness means. Do you see? Wholeness doesn't necessarily only mean oneness. It means everythingness, the allness of it, which is love and law. So the Tao gives birth to the one infinite reality, the one gives birth to the two, love and law, and the two gives birth to the three, spirit, soul, and body, the creative process, beautifully represented in our teaching symbol, which you see everywhere around campus. Our teaching symbol is designed to teach you about the creative process. Reverend Karen will be exploring that next week. This is the three, spirit, soul, and body, the creative process. How that which is the origin becomes that which is created. How creator, through the creative process, becomes creation. The Tao gives birth to one infinite reality. The one gives birth to two, love and law. The two gives birth to three, spirit, soul, body, the creative process. And the three gives birth to all universal things, which is creation in all its multiplicity and diversity. If you look around in creation, just look around in this room. Not a one of us is the same as the other person. We don't look the same, we don't act the same, we don't have the same history, we don't have the same experiences, we don't have the same contribution or talent or gift. Each one of us a unique, diverse expression, individualized expression of the one. Out of this process of the one birthing the two, birthing the three, birthing all universal things, creation. And that is the wholeness, the allness of life. Creation, all universal things shoulder the yin and embrace the yang. The yin and yang mingle and mix with each other to beget the harmony. And we understand this to mean that once you hit the space-time continuum, creation is actually governed by duality and the pairs of opposites. Oh, wait, another dual unity. Oh. So we have a radical wholeness, which is one, but in creation, it's actually two, the yin and the yang. Right, and what we recognize is because it's a dual unity, the yin and yang are not in opposition to each other. They are complements to each other, and it is the complementary nature of them that actually expresses the wholeness, which is that one infinite reality, which requires everything that you can imagine and everything that we haven't imagined yet to actually express its own infinite nature. We get the recognition of the pairs of opposites from Hinduism, an extraordinarily deep understanding that these pairs of opposites, unlike in the Western hero's journey where light is always contending with darkness, in the Hindu tradition, this deep understanding that the pairs of opposites are a unity, a dual unity. And it is only our sense that one side of the coin is better than the other, that the yin is better than the yang, or vice versa, that we end up with a sense of separation. And we forget that creation is part of the wholeness, which continues to aggravate our sense of separation. So the creative process has evolved organs that can now house consciousness to the point of self-awareness. Whether we're the only place of self-awareness, probably not. Although we would like to think so, right? Probably not even on this planet, but certainly not in the galaxy, and certainly not in the universe. But organs had to evolve so that consciousness could emerge into individualization, as we talked last week, so that life could see itself, so that consciousness could be revealed to consciousness. That's what we're doing. These first 4 chapters, that's what we're doing today. We're revealing consciousness to consciousness. We're revealing the nature of reality to that reality. We're the place where the universe is discovering and getting to express consciously how it works automatically. So we're going to explore. We explored the one last week, right? The one infinite reality. Karen's going to explore the 3 next week. What we're focusing on this week is the 2. The 2, love and law. The other words that we use for this are presence and principle, right? Love is the presence, the divine givingness of life that we spoke about last week. Law is the principle, the orderly, mechanical, automatic, impersonal way in which creation happens. The creative process that takes that which the Creator loves into existence and causes it to come into existence. Now, it's been a revelation for me in all of the diversity work that we've done over the last 10 years that actually law could be as challenging a word for people as God is, as we talked last week. Right? We come with a lot of baggage around the word God. We can also come with a lot of challenge with the word law, because law, human law, is not necessarily universally applied, is it? No, it's not. And we have many black men who have bled out on the streets to prove to us that human law is not equally justice, and it is not equally applied. And it can be confusing when we use the term law, because that is the case and that must be changed. So when we're talking about when we're using the word law, we're talking about natural and spiritual laws, not human laws, or the way humanity imposes or lives out the very laws that are supposed to be just and impersonal. And so I think this is why, for me personally, I like the word principle better. Principle doesn't come to me with that connotation. It has a more scientific understanding. It has a more impersonal nature to it. And it is not colored or impacted by the very experience that Black, Indigenous, people of color, women, trans, LGBTQIA, homeless, and other people have experienced. So we're going to think about this as principle. Love and law, we're going to think about it as presence, the presence of love and the principle. So then we have to ask ourselves, what is a principle, right? We have principles of mathematics. You know what a principle of mathematics is? It's the plus sign, right? The plus sign is a principle of mathematics. When you see the plus sign, you know what to do. You take this, and you add them together, right? It's a principle. Doesn't matter what's on this side or this side. Doesn't matter what they are. You just know that you're adding them. If a principle is the minus sign, if it's a minus sign, then I'm subtracting this from this. If it's an equal sign, I know that they're the same, et cetera, right? Don't even try to get me into algebra and the little thingies and the N and the X and not my forte. But you get the drift, right? The same thing with music, right? If you play a song in a major scale, the principle of the scale tells you what notes to play, and you get a certain feel. If you play it in a minor scale, that scale also tells you what notes to play, and you get a different feel. That's the principle behind the music that tells you how this particular scale goes together. And again, it doesn't matter whether you're playing jazz or hip hop or rock or standards or gospel or hymns. It doesn't matter. The principle of the scales are the same. Do you see? Right? This is what we're talking about. So, a definition of a principle. These are the three that made the most sense in this context. A principle is a fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation, right? Just like the plus and the minus and the times and the divide and the equal. That's the foundation of math. The scales are the foundation of music. It's also another way we can think about it, a general scientific theorem or law that has numerous special applications across a wide field. What in the world does that mean? So, the principle of magnetism, right? We can use the principle of magnetism to understand how electricity moves through the wires. We can use it to understand how you can put a magnet on your lapel and have it hold something up. We can use it to understand how it impacts with iron filings. We can use it to find true north. Do you see? It's a principle that's applied across numerous special applications across a wide field. And finally, a principle is a natural law. We would say, in the science of mind, the principle is a spiritual law. And these are laws that have the same, we could define in this exact same way. So our fundamental principle is the principle of cause and effect. This is the foundational truth, or the fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation, right? In the New Testament, it's spoken out as, it is done unto you as you believe. The principle of cause and effect. In popular conversation, it's what you put out, you get back. What goes around comes around, right? These are various expressions of this fundamental truth or proposition that serves as the foundation for the understanding of how love, the impulse of creation, of the creator, becomes creation. Do you see? We're thinking about how does this process work and what is it based on? The most important thing is to understand what the oneness is and what creation is based on. That will give us everything we need for when Reverend Karen is talking about the creative process. So a principle is a general scientific theorem or law that has numerous special applications across a wide field. The principle of attraction, the principle of circulation, the principle of correspondence. These are all the same principle of cause and effect, slightly understood as special applications across a wide field. So we can take the principle of cause and effect and understand that in the principle of attraction, what we're doing is being the mental equivalent, being that which we want to experience, and it is attracted to us, right? We can say that the principle of circulation reminds us that the principle works that as you give, so you receive. So as we are contributing our gift, giving of our time, treasure, and talent, it is pouring back in tenfold. The principle of correspondence reminds us that what's in consciousness is corresponded to with what's in the outside world. If we don't like what's out here, we have to look at what's in here. And we have to recognize that these things are corresponding to each other. It's like looking in a mirror. These two things are corresponding to each other. Do you see? They're all applications of the principle of the law of cause and effect, the principle of cause and effect applied across wide fields. And these are spiritual laws that we are invited to experiment with. We're invited to experiment with them, and we're invited to prove to ourselves that this is how the universe operates. Now, the other piece of this conversation about love and law is that when we think about these principles, no, let me start that sentence differently. We talked last week about how much our language is burdened with religiosity. It's burdened with cultural context. It's burdened with how we grew up with words. It's burdened with what we understood them to be. And that can be a challenge, right? That doesn't mean the words themselves are bad and wrong. It just means that we have synaptic pathways in our brain that can be pretty deeply grooved from those words. And if we insist on using those words, it can be very challenging to rewrite the synaptic pathways. Choosing other words begins to build a new pathway, a new groove that could become very habitual, that will actually mean the same thing, but will keep us from dropping into the old understanding. Did that make sense to you? Right? So it's not that the words are good or bad, it's that we want to get out of a automatic, unconscious, childlike understanding, and we want to mature in our spirituality and grow in our ability to understand and utilize these principles for good. So for me, the word, along with God, that sometimes is very challenging, and law, is the word faith. So sometimes faith feels like this to me. I'm supposed to stand there in the beginning of the maze and hope that I'm going to find my way through. I'm supposed to have faith in something implied outside of myself that is going to guide me through, right? You may have a love affair with the word faith. I'm not trying to take that away from you, and if it works for you, great. Oftentimes, faith means we have to build faith in something, right? When, in fact, in the science of mind, we say we don't have faith in God, we have the faith of God. Okay, well, the first time I heard that, I was like, I have no idea what that means. What does that mean? Why would God have to have faith? I don't even get that. What would God have faith in? Right? Because God is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, so therefore all-knowing, all-seeing, and everywhere present. What could it not know? It would already know the way through the maze. So I have faith of God. I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, so it's all right. We slowly but surely we creep our way there, right? So for me, one of the things that I had to do was I had to find another word that opened the space up for me, that opened something up for me that wasn't about having faith in, but was a way in which I was walking around in the world. That's what I understood the faith of God to mean. Because in the faith of God, there's no question. There's no question that as life moves, life is going to unfold. As seeds get scattered across by the wind, some of them are in fact going to grow. And they are going to feed the animals, and the animals are going to eat them. The animals are going to reproduce. They're going to die. They're going to feed the seed so that more can grow, so that more seed, right? Do you see? That's the faith of life. Life has faith in itself that it will continue to flourish. The faith of God is well, for me the word is trust. I found that trust opened something up for me that was a way of walking around in the world. And I would submit to you that you don't get up in the morning and have faith in gravity. Do you? Do you even think about it? No. You put your foot out on the bed, you toddle over to the coffee, right? What do? Do you have faith that the coffee's going to wake you up? No, you slam that coffee down, or you enjoy it with the sun, however you do it, right? We don't have faith in principles. You don't have faith in the plus sign. You know that if you use it correctly, you will get an answer that is actually correct. So when we think about natural laws, we don't, okay, I used to have a big fear of flying. Oh, it was ridiculous. I was flying 2 and 3 times a month for our international organization. I was flying all over the place, and I tell you, I cried on every takeoff and landing. It was ridiculous. And I grew up flying. I grew up flying to Europe because that's where my family is, right? And so I had developed this monumental fear of flying. And I was like, no, this can't be possible. And so I began to use my spiritual principles. And I realized that I was not trusting that the people who had built that plane understood the laws of aerodynamics. And I kid you not. And I would sit there and I would say, this plane is designed to fly. But I'm so worried, and oh my God, and what if it falls out of the sky? This plane is designed to fly. It's using laws and principles that make it get off the ground and fly. Do you see? Natural laws invite us just to use them, not to believe in them, which is, for me, what faith means. I have to believe in it. Trust begins to open up this space of, well, all I have to do is learn how to use it. Of course, if I had a better algebra teacher, I might be able to trust in algebra too, but I'm just going to blame the teacher. Which takes me to the next point. We trust in principles. We don't trust in people. Okay, let me rephrase that. We trust in principles. What we say is, I've had too many people betray me, therefore I can't trust. I've been too hurt by people, therefore I can't trust. We had this conversation a while back in a class somewhere, and I said, so it's not people that we practice trusting in, it's trusting the principles. And somebody said, well, I have to learn to trust myself. And I said, but haven't we all let ourselves down? It's not even ourselves we're trusting in. It's the principles that we're trusting in. That if we will change our consciousness, our life will change. We don't have to make that happen. We don't have to believe in that. We don't have to hope that somehow we've been good enough to deserve it or that we've been spiritual enough. We simply have to understand the principle and trust that it is how it works. The biggest thing of trusting in the principles for me was also a recognition that I was not the great exception. Because I could sure see it working for you. I knew it worked for you. I wasn't so sure about me. For a long time, I was not so sure that it worked for me because I had all kinds of opinions about how not okay I was, how broken I was, how unacceptable I was, how I ruined everything. I had all kinds of beliefs about that. But I had no trouble seeing the beauty in you, in another person. And of course I knew that the law operated, and that principles were present for you. And so, do you see, to get out of our sense of brokenness, our human belief that we can't do it or aren't okay, it's not even ourselves that we have trust in. We have trust in the principles. And we want to build so much of a trust by experimentation and proving it to ourselves that we use the principles exactly the same way we use gravity when we get up out of the bed. That's what it means to me to recognize that we are both love and law. We are the one showing up as the presence and the principle in our own lives and in life. This is something we can learn about. It's something we can comprehend. It's something we can examine, explore, practice with, experiment with. That's the science part of the science of mind, and prove it to ourselves. So here's the process of emergence. That's our whole idea for the month, right? And for our whole year of emergence. We start by, we trust the presence. There is a love, there is a power and a presence. There is a spiritual wholeness to the universe. We trust the principles that we can learn and apply. We trust the unfolding process, that it does in fact emerge and unfold toward that outcome. We trust ourselves as we become more spiritually grounded, and therefore we can trust in the outcome. Emergence is the trusting in the outcome because we understand that the one is impelled by love and ordered by principles. And this is how it works. This is what we trust in. And so I want to play you our little video again, but I'm afraid if I push the button, it's going to start that video. Can we do? Yeah. Sorry. I did it anyway. I love that. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Okay, so we are emerging. So we are emerging towards that greater good. That's the outcome, right? Lives that work in a world that works for everyone. So from Bouquet of Stars, Poetry chapter volume number 3, Toward Good. What if I focused on today and left yesterday's hurts and heights behind? What if I accepted the past as complete and entered every conversation as new? What if I believed I am one with Spirit and saw today's experiences as answered prayer? What if I saw the gift I am receiving and accepted it without guilt or shame? I am ready to soar without dragging the weight of yesterday's choices or challenges. I am ready to sing without knowing the words, but trusting the melody will suffice. I'm ready to forgive myself and all others and look through the lens of love. I am ready to trust there is a power bigger than me, moving my life toward good. Dr. Tracy Brown.